Here we go. Starting things up. Oh. Yeah, okay. I think everything's functional. Yes. Yes. Howdy, folks. Howdy, Xavier. Good to see ya. Liviusify? You seem new. Welcome. Ain't much, but it's honest work. Yep. Just gonna do the dreaded farming stream, chat. You guys can hear the audio, right? Wait, let me double. Yeah. I can't hear it on my headphones, but that might be me. Let me try something. Yeah, for some reason, can't get to connect. Let me just double check something real quick. Elgato. Hey, Thens, good to see ya. Let me double check something real quick. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I definitely did. Okay, so yeah, my thing's working. It's just, well, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, okay, it works on my TV, so. God, Elgato. Elgato is wonderful when it works, and then it's absolutely god-awful when it doesn't. It's like, hello? Whatever. Let's get to the farming. What's the plan for today? Well, John, you see, I've got a bit of a problem. I'm running out of resources. And I've been doing my best to save up on them so I don't have to farm. But unfortunately, I'm also someone who doesn't want to make this game brain dead easy. So I've tried to challenge myself, or at least try to keep on like a certain base level. And well, as we can see, they're starting to bite me in the ass. Because now we have to have the farming stream. And normally I would do this off stream. But we haven't had time for off stream. Barely have had time for stream, so yeah. I'll probably forget. Switch to the YouTube chat so that's easier for you guys. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Anything interesting going on? Yesterday's stream was about doing a little bit of Elden Ring exploration. I've tried to not do too much of my, like, casual sort of, hey, let's do stuff, where we just run around looking at the environments and stuff instead of, you know, doing the actual content. But I couldn't help myself. I got bit by the lore bug. Whoops. Why am I even wearing my headphones if I, don't actually hear anything? Whoopsie. What you farming for? Spices, noble lotuses, basically all the stuff we'll need for both my magic character, also Shrine of Storm / Valley of Defilement. You know, not having the volume on the TV really emphasizes how much of the audio comes from the controller. So I guess this isn't the worst thing in the world. That thumbnail, though? I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about, George? What thumbnail? It's completely wholesome. Oh, thanks, but that's not what I want. Oh, I don't have... Whoops. Done. I don't have anything to heal. Smile. You might have to go to Volataria first so you actually get some grass. Gosh, couldn't they make it like Bloodborne where like every enemy like drops cheap grass fairly regularly so you can almost never run out unless you're like doing super hard bosses or doing really badly. Oh yeah, we can't go this way. Moving on. Yeah, I'm working on working through Elden Ring and things like that. It's starting to come together in my brain. I'm starting to like get the feeling like, ooh, I'm really getting into the lore. I still don't know if I'll cover it though. Like, there's a very different thing between me liking the lore and being like, okay, I think there's enough here that I need to clarify for people. I really don't think there's that much compared to other games. So if I do cover it, I feel like it may be bringing back the decodings and just doing something like what you call it, just like clarifying all the relatively few quote unquote translation bits, and then kind of leave it at that. Because ultimately, that's the only thing I really contribute to the conversation. I don't think there's enough that really requires me to like sort of explain the environmental storytelling in the meantime. Wait, what are my rings? Oh, I have Regenerator's ring. That's good. Okay, at least a few of you had to drop Noble's Lotuses. There were so many. There's probability. Oh, hey. I can't remember. Have we gotten the ring for Rydell? I don't think so. I think you have to be like white tendency for that, right? I don't think we got the key. I may be wrong, but I somehow doubt I have the key. This is the farming stream, right? So we're gonna change this up a little. There we go. We're gonna change things up so it's not dark. Oh. Well, it was nice knowing you, everybody. I'm not dead! Well, that's one way to get my spice. Yeah, because I don't want to fall in holes like that. Oh god, overexposed moon. Kill me. Uh-huh. Oh gosh, the flashes of lightning are gonna be bad too. This was a mistake. You guys can hear the in-game audio, right? It's just me who's going on deaf ears. Oh. Hey, buddy. Actually, we can lower the exposure just a little bit. It doesn't need to be this bright. Yeah, that's good. Uh-huh. Actually, do you have anything I want? You have full moon grass, that's cool. You also have the spices I want. We haven't encountered plague too much, so I think that's fine to ignore. This, though, we need.
Thank you.
frozen of hope. There ain't no hope. Well, it's another aged spice at least. Aren't you mean? Wasted! I'm trying to farm these. Oh. I want to go here first. No, wait, because this leads to a hole, doesn't it? Ah, yeah! Should have stopped before. Xavier, does that one count? I was watching a new video from your favorite TA, and one of the topics covered was the ash around Lindell. Ooh, that should be a good one, then. Always happy to hear explanations for that. Hopefully that was a good theory. Worth it. We're gonna have so much spice by the end here, chat. Yeah, nothing here. Where is he? There he is. Oh! I didn't realize he aggroed that far. Oh, that thumbnail, you know your audience, Pastor Muppets. Thank you. I'm so glad that I marked my demographic just right. The Miyazaki stands. I would count that. Add it to the list. Anyway, so what was the crux of TA's latest vid? Was it just talking about Ash and Lundell, or? Alright, so this time though I'm prepared. Oh. You coming? There we go. That was close. Oh, hey buddy. You done? You done, champ? There we go. Nobles Lotus. Need more Nobles Lotus. It's not easy being a planter. Gotta reap what you sow. We go this way. It's about the religion around the Eritrean Golden Order. Ah, interesting. So the stuff that you can rely most on just what the text tells you. That should be a straightforward enough video. Let's see. So, if I recall correctly, there's one over here. No. No, I'm wrong. Then we have to go back here. Yeah, okay, yeah. So we go this way, up this way. Nope, not here. Oh my, I forgot about you. Come on, give me some. Yeah. How about you, buddy? You want to join the cause? Yeah. No! Traitor! Also, I think I missed you guys last time. Nope. No luck. Good old Fulchin backstep. Yep. Yep, John. Gotta work with what we got. Honestly, this weapon is so broken that I should just, I'm willing to accept that it has this super annoying ability. It's just that good. Come on, there we go. Somebody's got to drop a lotus. You know. Oh. I was just thinking, since I'm not listening much to the Demon Souls audio anyway, I could always just bring up TA's new vid and kind of just listen to it live. But I don't know if that'll step into what I'm working on currently with Loki looks. We already got the enemies here, thankfully, so. Have something to spice up the stream. No, but after yesterday's little individual tarnished archaeology that we did, I'm thinking more and more about like the early history of stuff and trying to like put things like kind of in order, but from what we got. I still have to get to mountaintops though, because I do feel like there's probably like items and stuff I'm forgetting from that area, and a little bit of the history with it. But I think it's starting to come together in my head. I think the biggest question for me is the Far Missoula statues of the King and Queen. Are those supposed to be dragons in human form or humans? Right? And you'd be like, well, shouldn't that be obvious? But it's like, that really could affect things. Because if it's true that human form comes from dragons, then there's a huge question there. And how's that going to affect things going forward with, for example, the missing queen, or I guess consort? No. No, because I think the idea was that Placidusax was the Elden Lord, so therefore, yeah, so then he would be the consort. Yeah, okay. Then the question would then be, where's the missing god to the dragons? And is she the one being depicted as the queen there, with the child? Very interesting. Because it would also tell us that Far Missoula, if it's humans, then that would tell us Far Missoula had to be renovated as humans came into existence. Because I assume humans came after beasts, especially if humans evolved from dragons. Well, also brings into question if beasts evolved from dragons. Or if they're kind of like two branches on the family tree. Big lizard, small lady all over again. Adolphus, no, why? Why you gotta make me think that? Listen, I'm just gonna imagine that Guinevere was Seath size, like when we meet her. Cause otherwise, she ain't coming out right. Although to be fair, that puts Osseros' situation in very questionable states. This is why we don't question how size works this is why we don't question size in these games. Because it only leads down terrible, terrible dark corners of our minds. Terrible, terrible places have been reached that man was never supposed to tread. Oh! Okay. There we go. Problem solved. Yeah, spice. Yeah, more spice. Give me all this spice. Guinevere's pretty big. She's either too big for Osseros, or just right for Seath. Maybe that's why Osseros actually decided he had to become a Seath-like dragon. He had to match her size. When it took a lot of work to get the first few kids going. It's one of those funny things where you go to Guinevere's room and it's like, oh wow, this could fit a normal sized lady. Wait, is this still locked? Oh no. Oh no. Where'd it go? The female figure with wolves in Malakith's arena is allegedly the Glowmite Queen. I think that makes more sense than anything else that was claimed to be her. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's just Melina. Like I don't think there's any big story between Glowmite. Though that is interesting to think about, the idea that the Glowmite Queen might affiliate with the dragons. But I don't think the dragon war quite lines up. I think too many other events are happening in between then. Let's see. I hate these guys. I don't know which ones to spare or kill my first go around. After all, I'll just give up and kill them all. You should always kill all enemies. Like, that's always the answer, Adolphus. Always genocide. There's a statue of what we can assume to be an Empyrean girl, flanked by 3 wolves in Farum Azula. She sits beneath a primordial elder ring, from what I can tell, at least. Assuming that's the god whom Placidusax was married to. That still doesn't tell us much about the statues, because again, we know dragons can take on human form. Pardon me. Can I? No, I cannot loot you. Whoops. Yeah, I see you, buddy. Tease. Yeah, but let's think. Glowmite Queen. Glowmite Queen is around. We know that she's chosen as Imperium, so she never became God. She was just a candidate, and she was a candidate to replace Marika, right? Who is God at the time. So this has to be after the era of the dragons with Placidusax and stuff. Now, what's interesting is that Farum Azula seems to have still been around for a while, right? And we actually we touched on this a little bit on the previous stream. Talked about the idea of, the timing of when did Farum Azula get struck by that meteor. So, like, was Farum Azula struck by the meteor relatively more recent times? because we know that the crumbling bits have been falling for quote-unquote a long time, but that's vague. That can mean anything. That could tell us that it's been crumbling since, like, the Ancient Dragon War in Godfrey's era. Like, that would definitely constitute a long time ago. So, like, it's still quite a vague time frame we're dealing with. And we know that we know Farmazula was part of the invasion because one of the corpses with one of the spells used during that war is found on the premises. In fact, it might even be trying to imply that Farmazula getting struck by the meteor and or flying in the sky began around that point. I.e., it's a leftover from the war, right? And they didn't bother cleaning up the bodies. Come on. Yeah, H-Spice. I need Rydell's, please help me! As like my automatic message whenever I'm stuck in the bathroom. Oh god, that's an image. Elden Ring lore reminds me of Morrowind lore. I assume you mean in terms of the idea that there's a bunch of different testimonies or stuff, but Elden Ring lore doesn't really have that. See, the thing is, Miyazaki writes his games where it's like, there is one lore. The question is, can you deduce it? It's more of a Sherlock Holmes, story. We're in an awkward spot. Okay, so like, can I do this without dying? Possibly? There we go. You were talking about reacting to the TA vid. Was that a legitimate consideration? Yeah, it was a legitimate consideration. I just don't know if I want to do that, because I'm trying to do, like, other content creators' vids as part of, like, something I actually do for this channel, where, like currently I'm working on the thing with Hawkshaw's, Dark Souls timeline vid, right? Where, Hawkshaw basically goes through and, like, tries to, like, set up a cohesive timeline for Dark Souls. Very popular video, fairly old, good timing, I think, relevant because of Abyssal Archive and things like that, you know, could really sort of highlight one of the values to my books. But most importantly, of course, just being able to kind of like put something on the channel besides these streams, because as much as I love streaming, I do want to actually do more content and stuff, like posting my own things, but unfortunately converting my content from very dense theses into equally dense but more visuals focused videos. That's taken a bit of time, especially considering how much time I still spend writing the theses and of course doing these streams too. Like, I only got so much time in my day. Gotta work to eat still, after all. I can't remember if you drop anything worthwhile. You know, I wonder if the reason the dragons attacked... Oh, Loki React contact from John. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, basically, it's Loki Reacts. I'm gonna call them Loki Looks. You know, I wonder if the reason the dragons attacked Lendel was because the Elden Ring that their god had was now in the possession of Mrs. Merica Girl Boss. Ooh! Ooh, that's an interesting way to think about that, Adolphus. Yeah, because the question is... Was the Elden Ring always where the Erd Tree was? And the dragons, or did the dragons have actual physical custody of it in some sense? Because you would think that much like with the Erd Tree capital, they would build their capital around the Elden Ring they had. They wouldn't be just like, okay, we're gonna fuck off and just let the Elden Ring do its thing. I mean, it's possible. Maybe they just figured no one will ever take over the area. But that's another thing. If Farmazula and the dragons were around for all this time, what are they doing when we have stuff like the Banished Knights getting, well, banished from the plateau? like, they let that happen. A bunch of other events are happening, and then they just later on are like, okay, time to invade. It's like, you're dragons. It's not like it takes that much to mobilize an army. You just fly over at any time. Blight Volcano Manor, Gravity, oh, Androgynous Godfickle. Oh, I see. You weren't talking about, like, the writing style. You were talking about, like, the vibe of the areas. Yeah, okay, then I kind of get you. I do wish, though, the Volcano Manor was a little more, prominent. I kind of feel bad that it's just a side area, because I do like it a lot. Like, it would be cool if it was more central to the plot, and we weren't, like, going to the mountaintops or some shit. But, so it is. So it must be. So you're thinking, oh, and so, hey, like, give that, like, hey, give that back. And Grandsax pulled a Radon and just dove into the ground like an autistic bird. I don't know. That's an interesting way to think about it. Someone I think said that the spear that you see in Lindell is actually one of the ones that Placidusax uses during his boss fight. I'm gonna have to pay attention to that during the boss fight, because if so, that itself is very interesting, because it would imply that that spear, giant-ass spear, came, if not from Placidusax, then at least from Farm Azula. And it makes you have to wonder, huh, where is that gonna take everybody? Okay, I need to go further upstairs. Yeah, Volcano Manor feels very confined. Indeed. Let's see. That was me, I said that. Gotcha, Xavier. What does keeping the Elden Ring in a certain area do compared to a different area? It's... okay, so, from what we can understand, the Elden Ring seems to at the very least have control over the lanes between. I guess you can argue how much it affects outside of there. I would assume yes, but we don't really see a lot of that. Obviously, the outside world doesn't get commented on a whole lot. But let's basically say this. You are the person who is trying to control the Order, right? We see this with Marika, right? She takes out the Rune of Death because she's like, okay, enough of this whole death thing. I'm controlling death, not you. I'm going to be Eternal Queen, right? So you can very much control the principles of this world if you have custody of the Elden Ring. So the question is, were the dragons had personal custody, or did they kind of just leave it out in the land where it was, and they didn't build their capital to protect it, right? Think of this like in Shulva, right? In Dark Souls 2, the Shulvans... ooh, that's cool. They actually, copy-pasted the angel imagery here. That's neat. Good job, Blue Point. So with Shulva, they built their entire capital around protecting Sin, right? So why was Farm Azula the same way? Did they build it around protecting the Elden Ring? Or did they, like, just decide, the Elden Ring's fine, we'll just build, like, next door to it? And then Marika comes in and, oh, I missed this before. Nice, more spice. Spice, spice, spice. Get me drunk on that spice. Alright, so, how are we looking? 6 Nobles Lotus. Fresh Spice, Age Spice. I think I could go for... where did all these corpses come from? Gosh, this controller even gives you wood sound. I'm not gonna lie, PS5 controllers with the audio and the haptic feedback, or whatever they call it, really cool. I do wish more games would take advantage of this technology. Up above. Let's see. Elden Ring has a lightning spear used by dragons. Dark Souls has lightning spears used to kill dragons. It's like poetry, it rhymes. It is, though it's not a physical spear, rather it's conjured, while Grandsax has a physical spear, because he's extra like that. Oh wait, is that Grandsax's spear, though? Do we know that for sure? Like, does he physically, is that supposed to be, like, something physically held? Because I don't remember him holding it, at least his corpse, when we were there. But I may be misremembering. Alright, then, where do I go for grass? Hey, girl. Bye, girl. I guess area 2? Yeah, the only game that really uses like the PS5 controller is the demo game with the little robot. You know, the same situation could be applied to the Glowmite Queen. The debate on how she acquired Destined Death when Marika plucked it, was it so careless? You know, that is an interesting idea, right? Because the idea seems to be that the Glowmite Queen, she had this sword with power, right? And then this sword is how she gets the black flames, right? And she's doing rituals with snake people, and she's creating the whole Godskin apostles and all that, right? So all that is happening. Oh, there we go. So all that is there we go, some grass. So all that is happening, and then Marika's like, okay, well, I will take the I'll take Destined Death, and that will cause the power to be lost, at least as we recognize it. Now, I was telling Smotown when he was asking me about this for his upcoming Glowmite Queen video, which again I'm not going to spoil, because, well, one, I can't really spoil anything. I don't know what's going to be in the vid, but basically I was telling him how the way that the Japanese is worded, it doesn't say like true power like the English does, but I'm presuming that the localization means sort of the idea that when it's talked about it losing its power, it's referring to how what we see isn't how the what's it called? It wasn't how the black flames used to look, right? It wasn't black and white. It was probably black and red, like Malekith's death powers, right? But then the red went away for the Glowmite Queen and people because Malekith sealed Destined Death in himself, so now he was the one who had sole custodian of it. If that's the case, then that brings the question, like you said, how is it that the Glowmite Queen was getting these black flames in the first place, then, if it's rooted in the power of Destined Death? Well, if the Rune of Death wasn't stolen by the Glowmite Queen, what does that mean for her greatsword, that where the Godskin Apostles got their black flames? My first thought was, maybe it's something like the Glowmite Queen was just creating a ritual that draws the power of Destined Death, similar to how we have, like, different magics that draw on different powers. And it wasn't necessarily intended to, you know, like, take directly from the source of power. But if that's the case, why was it something that the Glowmite Queen seems to almost uniquely be able to do, or at the very least was the only one who was bothering to do this? Especially if these are flames which are so dangerous to the gods, who of course are benefiting. There we go. Because of course the gods are benefiting from all the power of gold for, I assume, longevity. Because that seems to be the general gist with gold, that it's more vitality, longer living. Ghost of Tsushima on PS5 does cool things with the controller. Ooh! You know, now that I have a PS5, I can play Ghost of Tsushima. Ooh. Tsushima, huh? What a weird... Alright, geologist, tell me, is this an actual rock formation that can happen naturally? Because that just looks kind of weird to me. Got all these normal mountains, then this. It's like Mother Nature wants to stick its middle finger up to that wyvern, which, hey, I'm okay with. should definitely play Ghost of Tsushima. Okay. Okay, John. You're tempting me. I've seen screenshots of the game, and the game's just absolutely pretty. So for that alone, I would want to play it just to experience that beautiful Japanese vista. Depends if it used to be an ocean. Ah, I see. So if it used to be an ocean, yeah, that would make sense, right? Because tons of ocean formations like that. Yeah, more grass. Someone just suggested the Godskin Black Flames are knockoff versions of the Rune of Death Flames. They even look different, and the Black Flames don't apply the debuff. Well, that's exactly what it's saying, because what we're told is that the power was lost when Malakath sealed Destined Death. So there's some connection to these flames, and you're saying, like, oh, they're knockoff. And that may be the case, but it seems to be that the knockoff is a result of Malakath sealing them. So the question is it just a case of they got weaker because Malakath, sealed the power and therefore causes, a debuff to their existing Black Flame power? Because if I recall correctly, the Glowmite Queen's Greatsword doesn't have the red and black flames, right? It's still the black and white flames that are being... Oh, right, I forgot. Oh. There we go. There we go. And problem solved. How's that Dregling surviving back here? My man just hiding behind all these folks. Okay, sure. This is Bjor's prison cell, right? Yeah, I think so. Oh, or can I really not access that unless I'm like at a later portion? Let me climb up and see. Grass. Anyway, so the Glowmite Queen, she definitely had some power connected to Destined Death in her greatsword, from which the gods could get apostles to use. So there's definitely something that happened to those flames that makes the flames we currently see not quite the power that we see that Malakath uses. Again, I've been complaining about the actual, like, say, Gothic style that they added to Boletaria stuff, but besides that, I really do love what the remake did here. Like, just look at this. I love it. Absolutely wonderful. You feel that there's a story history here, that there's a culture. Alright, so what's we got here? Some crescent moon grass, some half moon grass, some late moon grass. It's okay. Let's try this again. Yeah, the Godslaying Greatsword has the same flames as the Godskins. Yeah, so it's all connected. That's for sure. To add, Malakath is Garank does give Malakath as Garank, sorry, there, Adolphus, does give us a beast eye bearing the Gloam hue that rise with his hunger. Makes me wonder if Gloam is an acquired characteristic associated with death. So when they called her there's the Gloamite Queen, and there's the one description that calls her, like, what, the Dusk-Eyed Queen or something like that. Which again, that's just the localization being inconsistent. The Japanese is like dusk, right? So there is the idea that there's a dusk-like color to her eyes, which I presume is, like you say, what the whole thing with Garank is supposed to be. So she has some power of the... She has some power over death. This is an interesting idea, then. Was the Glowmide Queen always a child of Marika? Because, like, people like to think, oh, Melina is the Glowmide Queen who was reincarnated by Marika to serve her purposes, or whatever, right? That's been the theory I've seen go around. But who's to say that Melina wasn't always a child of, wasn't always a child of Marika, and then she later became Empyrean. We know it's happened. We know it does happen with her kids later on, namely the twins and Ronnie. So it's possible for us to be able to see that that there was originally another one who got selected as Empyrean among Marika's children to replace her. But Marika, of course, didn't like that, and was probably probably sidelining it or not taking it seriously. And then so we see what happens with the Glowmide Queen starting the rebellion. So it could be something like that. That would explain how she had access to the Elden Ring and the Rune of Death then, because she could gather that power from the Elden Ring. She doesn't take the rune, right? Because the idea is that the Golden Order is sort of set, right? And then take some of that power to use it for themselves, since Marika obviously is not using it on the gods or anything like that. Then tries to destroy them, and that's when Marika decides, okay, I gotta kill my kid, gonna be Queen Eternal, and then we're never gonna let any of this happen again. Now, obviously, she has Radagon breathing down her neck, so next time there's Empyrean, she has to kind of go along with it. But she makes that point about how how you have to be wary that when you outlive your usefulness, you'll just be cast aside, which is obviously what's happening to Marika and Glowmide Queen to a lesser extent, you could say. Which might be more poignant for Marika if she loses her kid. Also kind of explains, if, like, Melina's, like, one of her original kids, then losing Godwyn, who very well may be, like, her firstborn, might be what drove her over the edge, because it's, like, you know, flashbacks, it's happening all over again. Have some Empyreans, I lose my kid because of it, blah, 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 blah. I just went back and forth killing the two knights. Ooh, fun fact, I learned recently brown doesn't exist it's just dark orange. I used to be a redhead, but my hair has darkened over its years, and now it's mostly brown. Oh. Is that so? Brown doesn't exist? That's interesting. Alright, let's try this, Xavier. Just gonna keep killing those knights. Never saw it coming. Yeah. I do like that Demon Souls actually does make physics a little bit more bearable compared to other games. Some games still have weird ragdoll physics that just makes you wonder why. We have the technology, please use it. Oh boy, Gwen's family tree spanned 3 games, seeing as Elden Ring likely won't get another game, but just DLC. I'm curious to see what you'll make of Marika's spawn. Well, will we not get a sequel? I don't know. I feel like Namco Bandai, they really shouldn't. They should have learned from Dark Souls that Miyazaki games are best when they're new IPs and new worlds. Not that sequels are awful or anything. I'm sure no one will say no to a Bloodborne sequel. But I just think that overall, From Software needs to kind of keep on making new and creative worlds for us to see. And only make games with sequels when, you know, the games are designed to have sequels, that you can't all fit it in one game. I don't know if that's the case for Elden Ring, to be honest. I feel like once the DLC's done, Miyazaki might be satisfied. Or not, he could be an auteur and just be like, no, I shall never be satisfied. I need to keep making these games so I can talk more about Martin's work. I don't know, DS3 is pretty dang gold. Okay, John, yeah. Here's my thing. I've always said, Dark Souls never needed, from a narrative perspective, Dark Souls never needed sequels. If we had to get sequels, I would rather it be a Dark Souls 3 than Dark Souls 2. That's always been my position, right? So, like, I love Dark Souls 3. Like, I love it probably more than I should. Probably more than it deserves, but I love that game. But I would still be like, listen, if we went back in time where it was like, there was no Dark Souls 3, I'd be okay with that. Because Dark Souls 3 could be a new game with all the mechanical stuff that people may like about Dark Souls 3. I think that's where From Software thrives. But hey, we could do worse than Souls sequels. So I'm not saying it's like the worst thing in the world if they do it. I just don't think Elden Ring in particular needs a sequel. I think once the DLC's done, I think Miyazaki's going to be pretty happy with it. But what do I know? I'm not him. I prefer Dark Souls 1 over 3. Yeah, Dark Souls 1's my favorite. There we go. You're right, Xavier. Pretty much guaranteed to get dropped in these grasses, huh? Oh. I wonder if they intentionally make the drop rates for those knights really high, since you have to pretty much get through them in order to get to Tower Knight, so they make sure that you get some good healing to prepare before the fight. Let's see. What if we do this? Yeah, no. It's better just melee. Oh no. Ouch. It's the same drops every time. Oh no. There we go. And if there would be a Bloodborne sequel with the retcons, would just piss me off more so than the DLC's retcons. I don't know. In my experience, the games are pretty good when it comes to retroactive continuity. There really isn't much. Like, the biggest retcon for all the games that I've analyzed, like Demon's Souls, obviously nothing. Demon's Souls got nothing, so nothing to worry about there. Biggest one for Dark Souls 3 would be the whole Firstborn with the sword spear, which was so clearly, obviously, not the original idea. But hey, world building. Cool little expansion, I guess. Nice. And then we got this too. Woo! Yeah, this is my only farming spot. I think it has a low chance of better grass. Oh, I see. So yeah, I don't think a Bloodborne sequel would necessarily have retcon problems. One of the main things that actually impresses me so much going from Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 2 to Dark Souls 3, considering that, at least as far as Miyazaki and others claim, there isn't really a lore bible, is how consistent the games and their narrative, even in some of the smaller details, have been. Despite different directors, obviously, and so much time between titles. Really impressive. So I think Bloodborne would be in good hands. I mean, I talked with Acer Aesthetics. We've talked in both private and public on a little podcast that we put together that about like different possible narrative things they could do for a Bloodborne sequel. I stand by that they should definitely, if there was a Bloodborne sequel, they have to do like a Return to Anor Londo moment where you're going through like this swamp. You go through like the obligatory Farron swamp level, right? And it's got all these arcane creatures and things, and it's not really necessarily a poison swamp per se, but it's definitely going to be something where you see a bunch of weird, fantastical creatures and stuff. But then, as you keep going through, you start finding buildings and stuff, and they're kind of half sunken in the swamp and all that. And you're like, well, that's kind of weird. And there's these, obviously, you know, it's all Victorian style, so you have these Victorian style ruined buildings you're going through or whatever, and you see this big building that's like half sunk and like almost like Leaning Tower of Pisa style into this swamp at the back, and you're like, huh, there's something about that shape that looks vaguely familiar, but I don't know. But then eventually, like, you like climb up in through a window or something, you drop down, and suddenly you just see the name appear, and it says Bergenworth Lecture Building, and you're like, oh my god! And you see, oh my god, it's just like the lecture building in the original. Woo! We're there! Like, you have like moments like that where you're like, oh my god, the swamp I went through is Rom's Lake. Like, something like that would be really cool, especially if they went like, I don't know, open world Bloodborne, right? So you would be going through that area separately or something like that. And then like you keep going and you go through the lecture building, and then you go through the big doors on the second floor, but instead of instead of taking you to like the Nightmare of Mensis, you just find yourself on like the crooked stage of the Lunarium where you used to jump into the lake and where Willem was. And it's like stuff like that would be really neat to help tie in the lore from the first game to a sequel. So I would love to see something like that. We've also talked about the idea of Gehrman possibly, quote-unquote, surviving, where, like, he comes back, because after he's killed, he returns to the physical world, now that he's free of the dream, but because he's, like, old as shit, he's gonna die, but someone finds him and, like, hooks him up with, like, you know, crazy mad scientist, like, I don't know, like, Archibald Tech or some shit, and they keep him alive like a Frankenstein monster through electricity or something like that, and we're like, oh god, that'd be funny. Because Acer wants someone to survive to have in the sequel, so that there's some more continuity to the original narrative, right? So he thinks, Gehrman, we could use him for the sequel. God. I'm like, yeah, sure. I feel bad for Gehrman, though. It's like, hasn't he suffered enough? Well, actually, you know what? He's complicit in a lot of Lawrence's shit. So, like, actually, no. He probably deserves more. He probably deserves more for capital punishment. A thing about Placidusax is that the other dragon's lightning comes from the sky. Placidusax has lightning that comes from him, if I recall. Ooh. Then do you think that all the lightning that they conjure might come from Placidusax, or is it just like generic sky you think it does? Ooh, that's an interesting idea to think about. A thing about, you think Marika has Guinevere beat in the shooting out kids business? Probably. I definitely think so, because, like, Guinevere has, what? 6... She has 7 kids total, I think, if we count from all her different lovers, quote-unquote. I'm pretty sure America's had more than that. And that's not even counting, like, Radigan, right? If we include Radigan, then yeah, for sure. But the way they talk about the golden lineage, the clan, as it were, it feels like it has to be pretty extensive. You got Morgott and Moog. You got Godwyn. You got potentially Melina. You got Godefroy, or at least someone related to Godefroy, because he's there. That's another thing. We know that it's a clan, there's extensive, and that we have to somehow get from Godefroy to, like, Godric, or we have to get Godfrey, Godric, and, like, you know, there's entire distant family relations in this clan. Yet, as far as we're aware, most of the known members of the clan, honorary or otherwise, don't have families of their own. Like, I don't think there's anyone who talks about how Mikola married a nice girl, settled down, and pumped out like 50 babies or some shit, right? Like, so I feel like we're going to in DLC potentially learn about more children or things of that nature. I wouldn't be surprised at least. There we go. That's actually why I can't stand Dark Souls 3. I figured out Farum Swamp was Darkroot Garden, and I lost all interest in the game. Why did that take away all your interest? It's not even, well, it's not even that it's just Darkroot Garden. Like, it's Darkroot Garden mixed with Lothric and stuff like that. But I get your general point, so. I'm kind of curious, though, why that takes away your interest. Such a bizarre thing to me. Oh no, my sequel. It actually ties into my prior game. What is this? It's awful now. Like, why make a sequel then? There's no point. Just make a new IP. That's why I always complain about Dark Souls 2. Just be its own IP. Bloodborne was initially supposed to be Demon Souls 2. Yeah, that ain't true. I've talked about this with Acer and Sophie and many others in private and stuff. We cannot find the actual evidence for this. There's the idea internally that they were calling it Demon Souls 2. But that's what you're gonna call when Sony, who originally hired you to make Demon Souls, quote unquote, wants you to come back so you can make another Demon Souls type game. Yeah, of course you're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna call it Demon Souls 2. And Bloodborne had a lot of prototype names early on. Like, it's actually kind of stupid. Acer told me another one of them, which is hilarious. Not gonna share because confidentiality. Don't want anyone getting in trouble. But yeah. Fair enough, yeah. No, but seriously, I'm actually curious about your thoughts on what you felt made you be like, oh, this is Darkroot Garden, lost interest. Like, legit curious, like, not trying to attack you or anything, just kind of wondering what the thought process or the feeling was. Like, is it kind of like one of these things where it's like, oh, is it needless fan service? Is that what you feel like the thing is? Is it just you don't like the idea of rehashing that area? Like, just kind of curious. It's always an interesting topic, I find, for the people who don't like Dark Souls 3 for those types of reasons. Dark Souls 3 is basically Bloodborne 2. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't say that because, like, mechanically, obviously, they're very different. But there's no denying that you look... I knew nothing about Bloodborne. Like, I was familiar from Bloodborne purely through, like, the marketing stuff, and I don't follow marketing, so, like, it's out there in the cultural ether, right? So I have this, like, tertiary familiarity with it. I played a demo for, like, half an hour of Bloodborne at a convention long ago, and that was about it. As soon as I picked up Dark Souls 3 and got to Undead Settlement, I'm like, oh, this is Bloodborne. Like, it's like, I just recognize that feel of the concept artists and stuff who came from Bloodborne to Dark Souls. It was, you just see it in the art style. I felt like I figured out the game's twist way too early. Was that the game's twist, though? Because it tells you at the start about the whole lands converging thing and all that. Like, was that supposed to be the twist? Like, Dark Souls 2, I get it. That's the twist, right? Oh, it's a new setting, but look, it's all the stuff from old, it's all the stuff from Lordran and things, and all the characters or whatever, and oh my god, parts of Lordran came to, this new setting or whatever, right? Like, it's like, that I can kind of get, because that's kind of the twist, because they're not trying to, like, give it away, and, like, pre-release and stuff, they're like, no, we promise you, it's not Lordran, it's a completely different place. It's outside of Lordran. We're going to the world of man, which is technically accurate. Ooh. There we go. I mean, does Dark Souls 3 have, like, a big major twist, like, honestly? Like, I'm trying to think, like, narrative-wise. Like, what is the game's big twist? Because it kind of just tells you... It tells you at the start what you're going to do, and then you go and do it. I mean, the game feels more like it's just trying to illustrate, both thematically and narratively, the futility of keeping the series going. It's the Dark Souls sequel that tells you, please, stop making us make Dark Souls sequels. Alright, I think we have to be close to having... Oh, we're starting to have grass go to good old, Thomas. So... Wait, what's this knight shield for? Why do I got this? Don't need it. I'll be taking, I'll be heading back now, because I think we're definitely at a point where... Oh! When did I get 50? Well, I'm unexpectedly, I got more than I thought. Got more than I bargained for. Is the painting giving you a way out at the end, a twist? I suppose for the painting world. Cause I suppose the big twist with the painting world DLC was when you do the end of the first DLC and they tell you, oh, he wants to get the Dark Soul. And it's like, oh, that's an interesting revelation. But, like, that's for the DLC. I'm talking about, like, the main game narrative. I don't think the DLC stuff... Because the DLC is mostly a side story. Like, it really is basically about, like... Okay, the main game focuses on our world. The DLC sort of creates a narrative string. Like, obviously, we're still going to, like, places in the real world with DLC 2, with Ring City and Dreadkeep and all that. But the narrative focus, the reason why all that stuff's happening, is to follow Gale's story, which focuses around the painting, right? So... That seems to tell me that, everything we got going there... is more so about, sort of aside, like, let's explain what's going on with the painting world, because that's something the base game obviously didn't address. We just kind of got some Corvians running around and some hints about what's going on in the painting, but that was about it. God, that's a lot of grass. Alright, let's see. What can I... First off, always get rid of all this stuff. This is so heavy. We don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this. We don't need this. Yeah, no. We don't need two of these. To be honest, for how much crap I'm holding, I'm surprised that I am only in the 40s for item burden. Seeing as Morgoth and Moog were chilling in the toilet, shunned from the light of day, wouldn't it make sense for Godwyn to further the lineage? Hence Godfroy and Godric and Golden Lineage. That's true. It could be that Godwyn is the origin of characters like Godfroy and Godric. The problem is like I said, we don't know anything about Godwyn's family, if he had one. Like, did he find a Mrs. Godwyn? We don't know. If so... She's completely out of the picture. But that's nothing new for FromSoft Games. Find a better combo. Princely, kingly, royal, male characters, and their missing wives. The thing I thought was cool is that the two Mortal Blades in Sekiro have the black and white, have the black and white and black and red flames. Ooh! Ooh, that is kind of neat. Again, From Software has always been such a meta company. It's always cool seeing how they kind of almost like effortlessly sort of weave in stuff from their other games into this. By the way, do we have Mephistopheles here yet? She's supposed to be around here, right? I think maybe she goes where our good old friend was. That's exactly how I view it. The game is self-aware of what it is. It has a Bloodborne feel, minus the things I like about Bloodborne. I don't know if it has a Bloodborne feel per se, but it has a Bloodborne, aura to it. Yeah. It's definitely obvious that Miyazaki, when he's going back to Dark Souls 3, and he's like, ooh, I want to build on concepts that exist in Dark Souls 1. He definitely had the Bloodborne framing on the mind. So there's a lot of things that are focusing on this. Like, ooh, what happens if you drink someone's blood? Or if it's a powerful soul of a blood, how does that affect you? And blah, 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 right? Or, because blood is the medium of the soul in Dark Souls, yada, 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 right? So he's thinking about stuff like that, and how things that we would do in Bloodborne would relate in the Dark Souls universe. And I'm sure some of it's actually accidental. I don't think all of it was necessarily intentional on his part. I think it's just that, again, he had Bloodborne on the brain when he's coming up with Dark Souls 3. I wish Dark Souls 3 didn't have so much Bloodborne leak over it, but I still enjoy it. I mean, I don't mind. These games influence each other, right? Do I complain about Dark Souls 1 because it has too much quote-unquote Demon Souls leak over it? Like, no, not really. It's the nature of the beast. Art is always in dialogue with its fellow art, especially when especially when the artists are working with predecessors and spiritual successors and things of that nature. I do find it funny, though, that Miyazaki got tired of saying soul, because for those that don't understand, when you talk about the spiritual successor of something, you talk about the soul of this thing. Like, this is like sort of this is the soul of like the soul of demon souls being brought in Dark Souls, right? And Miyazaki made a joke in an interview once about soul. I'm so tired of saying soul. I'm like, yeah, I can understand why he wanted to get away with that with Bloodborne and then Elden Ring and stuff like that. Like, just get away from the soul. What else do we want to do? Actually, first, I think we can level up with this, right? Yeah.
The mind, key to life's ether. Soul of the lost.
All right, what do we need for what we're going against in Shrine of Storms?
So the world might be mended.
We're fine on MP, I think.
So the world might be mended.
The issue is vitality, I think, right? Vitality or intelligence? We'll do vitality, because I feel like survivability is becoming an issue at this point. I still don't see too much. I don't see any new magic I really want to use instead of what I've got, so I think we're fine in terms of the number of slots I got.
Art thou finished?
Vitality, though, is always useful for survivability, especially when we go to Shrine of Storms with those stupid laser boys. I also have to consider investing in a different weapon, because I think Shrine of Storms just... I think using magic in Shrine of Storms is just... It's not going to work. Alright, so, now that we got our grass, let's get more of those, spices again. Prison of Hope. Have you ever looked at, J.R.R. Martin's work before? I wanted to get into his, Game of Thrones, well, the book series, Story of Fire and Ice and all that, right? The problem is, I do not have as much time for personal reading as I'd like, especially after I started doing stuff for Souls on the website, so... It's one of those things on the bucket list. You know what's funny? But in this game, it's the fan artists that are doing... Wait, what? Adolphus, are you stringing together sentences? I feel like something's missing. Oh, whoopsie. Me looking at the chat instead of paying attention to what's in front of me. Name a better duo. Oh. Wait, 1 second, need my water. Stay hydrated, chat. I read Game of Thrones 1 and 2, pretty dang good. That's great. Always good to find a new book series to get into. goodness, where are you coming from? If I recall correct, yeah, we can't go further than here, so. This is the part where we go back. But first... You shit! You know what? I'm not gonna question it. Hey, I am. Good to see you. Welcome on in. As you can see, we're doing the old farming, plowing those fields, sowing those seeds, reaping those flowers and spices. Yes, hello. Oh. Nope. Wait. Yeah, no. God, I love it. Really? None of you drop something? That's just statistically unlikely. Guess I just didn't roll the dice. Oh. Oh, my weapon's damaged. Whoops. I forgot to do repairs when I was at the Nexus. Oh, sorry, buddy. Will you guys drop something, please? I don't even care if it's Moonlit Stone at this point. Wait, what? I guess I staggered him? I think? Also though, my weapon is starting to, stopped having good damage going, so can we fix this? That do it? Durability, yep, looks like durability's back. Thanks, Ed. Oh. Ouch. Statistically speaking, you should drop stuff when you die, alright? So could you drop something upon your deaths? Exactly, Adolphus. You get me? If it says 99%, that means it should always work. It's just statistically unlikely for it to not work. That's how statistics works, right? It just works. Oh, I missed you. It really is. I've only read one whole series before. Oh, really? I used to read a lot of series when I was younger. Nowadays, though, I do so much writing. It's a luxury when I can do some more reading. That said, I am looking into it. It's interesting because a fan did ask me about reading one of their books, and I'm looking to find the time so I can do that, because I think it'd be cool. Really nice of them to ask, and I was really happy to get a free copy, because, hey, I might really like it and want to tell you guys about it. Yep. Uh-huh. God, I love this spell so damn much. There we go. Man, aren't I glad we didn't have So many more Miyazaki moments where he creates a bunch of harmless enemies, but hiding behind them, waiting for you to get close, is a bunch of enemies with poison daggers to shiv you. Man, am I glad Miyazaki didn't continue doing that type of gimmick. That would suck. I say that, and we're gonna see it in the DLC, just watch. I jinxed it for all of us. Sorry. Just gonna give my apologies in advance for ruining your fun. I want to write a book one day. It's a rewarding experience, but very time-consuming. We go this way. Yeah. There we go. God, can we add this spell to Elden Ring, please? I would literally use it more than Common Azure. Like, no joke. Oh no, I'm dead. It was nice knowing you, everybody. Not dead. What is this? What is this sorcery? Okay. He lost me. Oh, well, only took one. Alright. Spice down. God, Black Soul Tendency. In Latria of all places. The poor octopus man. He doesn't know what to do except shuffle. Shuffle over. Hope he can possibly outpace me. You can't turn it back on. The Golden Order. Who told Radigan he could get another sex change? No need for broken magic in Elden Ring. I mean, this is the least broken spell in this game. And Elden Ring has broken magic as it is. It has Common Azure. What were they thinking when they came up with that spell? That stupid ass but hilariously fun spell. We didn't get anything from this, the stupid prisoner ball, right? So yeah, there's something down here. Yeah, I think we're just gonna ignore that. Uh-huh. Yeah, not seeing anything here either, so. Okay. Here. There you are, my little friend. Dead. And we got nothing else to worry about. Okay, so we can go back. Please help me. Swift Glintstone Pebble's pretty close though. It's not automatic. Yeah, that's the problem. Me just being able to hold down the button and strafe is what makes this spell fun. Like, it does, like, 0 damage, but, like, it's so much fun. For, like, 2 MP cost spell, like, oh, I wish Elden Ring had this. I would download an Elden Ring mod that added this spell. No, this is not where we want to go. Gosh, this is why I should have just gone to the church. This is why I should have just gone to church. No, this is not how we go. This is... There we go. Yeah, now we're back here. My school has a really good incentive for reading. I must have read 20 or so Goosebumps books, plus many others. Ooh. Remember the Goosebumps TV shows, specials, whatever they were that they would do? I don't know what it was about those, but those were so creepy, which is weird because they were super low budget or whatever, but something about them just always gave me, well, goosebumps. I don't know what it is, but they did a really good job with those. I'm sure I'm going to rewatch them and be like, these are a lot cheesier than I remember, but I don't remember. I remember when I saw them, it was like, what is that? Absolutely freaky. There we go. It's hard. I have a decent amount of ideas, but like I'm crippled in the brain to mean. I generally work best with collaborative things, and it depends on the vibe. Yeah, I get you, Adolphus. Again, it's not... There's a reason not everyone's a writer, right? Or if they are, it's oftentimes they're working through a ghostwriter. Because it's work. It's definitely work. It's not as easy as you may think. Take me to church. I'll worship like a shadow at the shrine of your storm. Alright, so let's see. What are we loaded up on? We got tons of grass. Not as many lotuses as I would have liked. But we got a lot in the fresh spice and aged spice department. So next time we do this, we can definitely start handling... I think we can definitely start handling, Oh, wow. Wait. You've got... Fine. Fine. Do this. I definitely think we're in a good spot for next stream. Nothing new from you guys, so time to focus on getting my... Well. Sir? No, that grass is for me, not you. Her lips? Whose lips? Made in blacks? Why are you looking at her lips, you pervert? Clearly, it's all about the legs. Just look at my thumbnail. I showed this and all you people came flooding into the chat. I know what you're here for. Yeah.
Soul of the lost, the drawn. Art thou finished?
Now I'm wondering next time, because we gotta do an archdemon to do that area. I'll be honest, I'm thinking next time we do Dragon God, well, we do Old Monk, Dragon God, Area 3 Boletaria, and then we return to Shrine of Storms and Valley. Just because I'm struggling enough as it is. I think it's about time we do some of the piss easy bosses. And, you know, kind of leave it there. Because obviously, it doesn't matter. The bosses are not hard enough to warrant me, me holding off on them for now. I'm just kind of limiting my content options right now, trying to wait before I finish an area. Nope. I ain't paying 25k souls. God, I just love the detail. Again, I could definitely spend time just gushing about the remake as much as I sometimes bitch about it. I'm definitely someone who can appreciate the positives. Look at that long, long, long shaft. Don't want to fall down there. Unless a maiden made me. Who's the statue lady? The statues represent priestesses from the Monumentals era, because they're all women. Back when they were part of a grander civilization. Sun, God gave us souls with the sun. Yes, I think that's everything I wanted to do today. We're stacked. You know what? I can actually go through though my storage though and figure out what do I want to bring. Because do I want to bring all this crap? I mean, I might as well. My item burden is still pretty low. Yeah, like souls cost me nothing. Increase resistance to status elements. This is one of the new stuff the remake added, right? Yeah, we don't want to use that, so... I'm gonna put these things there, because I haven't really needed to use these, and I'm probably never gonna use them at this rate. Fire bombs we're not gonna use. Not gonna be throwing kunai. Actually, I am gonna bring those, because, the throwing knives might be useful in, like, getting some aggro from some enemies, which were like, oh, they're all the way over there, and it's really annoying to aim for them, so we'll just do some telescope throwing knife shenanigans, so we can save on MP. Grass jelly. Yeah, no. Pine resin. We can't use that for this stuff, right? So, yeah, pretty happy with what I got.
You have a heart of gold.
And if we're going to do bosses and stuff, then we're gonna want to do this because we don't need Wait, I have 2 regenerators rings. Oh god, we gotta put one of those away. Okay, Ring of Avarice. Cling Ring's fine for now, but we'll have to remember to switch it out when I go into body form for these bosses. Actually, I'm not going to go to body form for these bosses. Why should I? These bosses... Dragon God sure ain't going to be worth it, because he's either going to insta-kill me because of his wonky AI, or he's going to die laughably in the first try, so... Okay, that's good. Hey, Night Scout, how's Demon Souls been? It's been okay, we're about to close up now, so... her lips. Our huge clown. Did girl get work done? Imagine being allergic to the very wax that blinds you. Wait, now you want me, now you got me curious. What's this about her lips? Oh my, you are right. Where's she getting that lipstick? Those are some big pink chompers. My oh my. Also, her wax ain't black, Anyway. If it was thighs, I would have been a more interesting thumbnail. I am, like... He doesn't care about this. He cares about this. Ah, yeah. Look at that thigh, I guess. What do you think of this game's level design in comparison to its successors? Darcy, I like it. Like, obviously, it's never going to beat Dark Souls' Dark Souls 1's interconnectivity, right? For at least the first half and stuff like that. Like, that's just never been beat, and From Software has never tried to go back to it for some who-knows-why reason. Though they kind of get to it in Elden Ring with some of the legacy dungeons, but it's not quite there. But essentially, the the actual, like, individual levels, I like them. I like how they interconnect. I like how you can kind of relate to them and what they do and how they function and stuff to places. I like the general design and the layout. They meet the feel that they're going for with each area rather well. Like, Prison of Hope feels exactly how you'd expect the Prison of Hope should feel. And not just in terms of atmosphere and stuff, but just overall. Like, the only one that I have to kind of complain about, again, purely in terms of level design, is Shrine of Storms, Area 1. I don't think it's as interesting as it could be, but I think it's just the limitations of the type of area they're going for. I mean, you're stuck on top of an island. There's only so much you can do with that, So I do think it's probably the weaker of the first areas. I think Area 2 is stronger, though, because it involves you, like, going into the island and then out and, you know, like, getting to see the outside and then back in on a lower level, right? And you can kind of see the other parts as you look over the ledges and things. So I think that's where it gets a lot better. I just think the Area 1 for that one has been, like, the weakest so far. That's not wax on her face. Stop, John, stop. No, no. It's wax. It's sticky white stuff. Wait, no. It's slug slime. There. Demon Souls is some GOAT level design in my opinion. Fabulous layouts, world connection, shortcuts, etc. I don't know about shortcuts and stuff like that, but the shortcuts are like okay. Like you get a little in Prison of Hope, you get a little in Bulletaria. But I don't think it's that great. Overall, though, I like it. Anyway, I think that's where we're gonna end things here, guys. I've been enjoying it. Shrine of Storms is a smaller area, but it has a good theme of excavating the Shadowman's history. Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about narrative and lore. I'm talking purely about level design. In terms of just pure level design, I think it's a little bit dull. I think Stonefang does better with that type of small, more compact area. But anyway, point is that generally speaking, I think we're happy. We got the farming stream out of the way. Hopefully, we won't need to do this again. Next time we do Demon Souls, we'll hopefully have a lot more actual, you know, real meaty content to get through. We'll probably get through a few bosses, and then hopefully from there we'll be strong enough that I can get through Shrine of Storms and Valley of Defilement a little easier, and then we can finish up this game. We're also going to go back to Bloodborne at some point, because Ebrietas must die. Smotown and I were bonding on Twitter over some of the BS that boss does, namely tentacle spam. But, yeah. Very happy to say that this stream was very nice. Great to talk to you guys and be able to, you know, just kind of just chat about random things, not necessarily having to deal with Demon Souls. So, all cool. Anyway, gotta be talking about more with you guys later, okay? See ya. Bye-bye.